You say you have to know a guy for like over a month, be just your words, be going on dates consistently before you'll even consider kissing him. A month?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like a strict thing, but I feel like I typically don't even feel like kissing a guy if I
gross.
Don't know him.
That is, I like to postpone the kiss as long as possible. Even if like I just want to we should have sex before even kissing. That's my position. Right?
Yeah, Brian.
He knows.
You're so right, man.
But okay, you need to be going on dates consistently. So what if like third date he goes for the kiss? Do you like dodge it and give him like the ass out hug? You know?
No, I think if it feels right, like that's what I'm saying. It's not like a super strict thing. Like if it feels right, I'm gonna do it. But I just like typically don't feel like if I
have
don't
you
know
ever had sex with someone before you've kissed them?
No.
Okay.
I feel like
I had to ask that question.
Actually, I guess kind of related to this. How about bringing it a little further though? When it comes to sex, like how long do you? I don't even know the best way to phrase this. Like, how long do you wait? This is for the whole panel. We'll go around the table. Before, like, 1 date, 2 date, 3 date, whatever. If it feels right, I don't know. Before having sex. Michaela, go ahead.
Yeah, probably just if it feels right. Like, whenever I'm comfortable enough.
Has it ever felt right 30 minutes after meeting a dude?
No. Not for me.
Good talk. Okay, Bella, what about you?
Yeah, when it feels right.
So like an hour?
It's typically after maybe 10 dates.
Bella, come on, bruv. 10 dates?
Is that bad?
You're waiting 10 dates?
10 dates isn't a lot. Oh, if
That's a lot
I
of
usually
dates.
hang out with
You usually hang out with what?
with the other person pretty often. So
Okay.
it goes by pretty fast, but
That's a lot of money.
That's
a lot of cost per nut on that one.
Hold on. It's a little degenerate.
10 whole dates, $100 a dinner.
Christian. Not very Christian. You just say that. It's not very Christian.
CPN.
The ROI or whatever. I don't know. Damn, 10 dates?
is that a lot?
No, you should be chaste. In fact, you should wait till marriage.
Some people wait months.
I think in the past, I maybe just a few dates, but now I'm kind of waiting for the right guy.
Okay.
Brian should tell you his. Okay, I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna watch. I'm just gonna watch. Okay.
What is Andrew? What is it?
So Brian has an irrefutable argument. It upsets me greatly. I argue with him all the time, and I end up losing on this argument every single time. So here's the argument. The argument just goes simply like this. If you were promiscuous before you got to the man that you really liked, but you were not going to sleep with that man, right, because you now want to wait, wouldn't that man feel gypped?
He might, but I think at least for me, it'll feel, the intention is different.
What?
I agree.
Yeah, the intention is different.
No dispute there that the intention is
But
different.
yeah, I could
I'm just
see.
let's just look at it from the man's perspective. So let's say, and this, of course, this would never happen because I'm not really a 10, but that's really funny to say. But let's just assume for a second that you and I were dating, right? Hypothetically, of course. And we sat down and we're having dinner and we're having a great time, and we have a few drinks and we get into it. And you're like, look, I really like you. I do have a bit of a sordid past. I've slept with, let's say, 10 guys or 15 guys. And some of them, even on the first date. I've done this even on the first date. But with you, I really like you, right? And I want to wait so that this is meaningful. From my perspective, wouldn't I be like, what the fuck? You fucked all these guys? What? Where's my? You know what I mean? Would from the guy's perspective, how do you think that would make them feel?
Yeah, I understand that. I could see how a guy could, kind of be maybe upset about it or feel gypped.
that everybody else
Sorry.
was able to be like, hey, on the first night, I slept with that guy, but that was a mistake. But you, I really like you, so I'm going to make you wait. Doesn't that just sound backwards?
It can, but then, I'd probably tell him that because he's so special.
Yes,
Oh, boy.
and now we get to the heart of the argument. So you thought that the first part was the argument, but it wasn't. It was just a lead up to the argument. So here's where Brian comes in with the kill shot. That annoys me to no end.
Oh, okay.
Here's the kill shot to the argument.
Oh, what?
Brian says, well, then you're faking virtue. Because it was not for you virtuous to not sleep with the men before me. It's only because you really like me and you think my preference is that I want a woman who is virtuous. And so even though you want to sleep with me, you will not because that's my preference. So you're actually faking virtue.
Well, I would probably put it on myself. I'd probably say it's
Sure.
because I was immature, and I think
Yeah.
for once in my life, I know exactly what I want.
Sure, but from the guy's perspective, right, again, from, let's say, Brian's perspective, he thinks, but if you're making me wait, and you say you're doing it for me, it's because you must think that I have the preference that I don't want to be with a promiscuous woman. And if you were promiscuous with all the men before me, then you must be faking being virtuous because you think that's what I want.
I don't know what to say.
Can I add something? Because I actually relate to this a lot. So with my kid's dad, I had met him, but the first month or so, we didn't have sex or anything. So that for me, it was because most guys usually they just want to hit it and quit it, So the fact that he also was understanding of oh, we both actually cared about each other, see something in each other to wait. I don't feel like every guy is going to be oh, well, why are you going to fuck him but not me?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let's say you had fucked him on the first night, right? How would that have changed your relationship dynamic?
He probably would have just went on to the next girl and...
Right. So
Yeah.
then the virtue here was self-serving. You didn't sleep with him because you thought if you did, he'd move on to the next girl, not because you have an objection to sleeping with him. That's exactly what faking virtue is. That's the heart of Brian's argument, which is why it's so frustrating to me, because I've been pondering for one straight year. This literally plagues me at night. I cannot refute this argument. It bothers me to no end. But what you just demonstrated was the perfect example of faking virtue.
Yeah.
I will not have sex with you because I'm afraid that if I do, it'll give you the wrong idea about me, and then you'll move on to the next girl. Perfect.
So what about the idea of,
right?
the
That
guys...
means then that you would sleep with him if you thought he would stay with you.
So what about, because I know we're both talking
Hang on,
to
can
other
you answer
people.
to this question? If you
Yeah.
knew for sure that he would have stayed with you if you had slept with him night one, wouldn't you have?
Probably not, because I usually don't just hook up with a guy the first night.
Okay, night
that
three?
I like.
Night three?
No, because he lived really far, so
Okay,
we only saw
but
each
if he
other
didn't
a
live
few
really
times
far,
a week.
if he didn't live really far?
Maybe, but
Yeah,
it
maybe.
didn't
So
go
you were
like that.
faking virtue. So what
Not
you were doing is
faking.
you were making him wait because you wanted him to think you weren't that kind of girl. That way he would stick
Well,
around.
he met me at a strip club, so he probably already thought I was that, and he was probably already expecting
maybe.
to get something
And
out
look,
of me.
Look, every circumstance is different. In this case, I'll even grant in this circumstance it's different. But even then, your entire mindset behind this was, I didn't sleep with him immediately because he would think something bad about me and move on to the next girl, so I made him wait. It was not, though, that you objected to him and you wanted him to wait because of virtue. It was because you thought it was a good way to net him. And so then we get into that's what faking virtue is. And every single time this is played out, it always plays out the same way. And it pisses me off, and I want to choke Brian all the time. I want to literally strangle him because I don't know how to refute that argument. Because you are faking virtue. You're not doing it for him, you're doing it for you, right? To keep him.
Well, I kind of did it more for me because I wanted it to go further. you know. So like I didn't want to just give it to him, and you know, who knows where it would have went. I wanted to like wait and see where it actually go, and then like if I see it's not gonna go anywhere, I'm either not gonna do it, we're not gonna have sex, or we could just do it and
Right.
move on. Like if that's all.
I agree.
the
I
exchange.
totally understand exactly what you're saying. You're not doing it though because you think in your head it's virtuous to stay pure. It's virtuous to be chaste. You're doing it because you think it'll.
Well, I didn't
keep
think that because I
the
was a
guy.
stripper, so I'm like, he probably already thinks I'm like a whore. So
Yeah, right. You're doing it because you think it'll keep the guy. That's what faking virtue is. It's like, I'm not easy. I'm not like this. But you were like this with 10 other guys or 5 other guys or 2 other guys or whatever. But I'm not going to be like this with you. You know what I mean? I'm actually virtuous to keep him interested. That is what faking virtue is. And so this argument, I've had trouble refuting when Brian says, well, shouldn't I feel gypped? Because they're just faking virtue. How the fuck is he wrong?
Okay, I have a thought on that. So,
Okay.
And I'll weigh in too. Go ahead.
I think generally, if you sleep with anyone, male or female, I think there's some kind of emotional connection. And if you sleep with them early on, maybe you don't get a chance to actually get to know them to decide whether you do like them or not. So that's my reason.
Okay. I mean,
But you've already you made that decision later in your life, because earlier in your life you were more, at least in this situation, the woman was more, she threw it out more often. So she came to this conclusion later. The guy would say, oh, well, that's funny that you come to that conclusion later, but with all those other guys in your past, you weren't so chaste, you know?
Yeah, well, and I think that's why I've always, not always, but I've been in so many relationships that lasted so long. And
You
it's
waited
probably
with
because
all of them?
I didn't wait that long. And I think if I would have waited, I probably wouldn't have ended up being with some of these guys. So it's like a hard lesson that I learned.
perhaps. I do want to come back to it, but really quick, because we were going around the table on this. How long do you think you should wait before hooking up? Quick answers, guys.
At least a month.
I don't believe in hooking up.
Okay. Tilt your mic down a little bit. Go ahead. What about you?
If this is about dating, there is no time you will know. Don't think about it. Live your life and breathe and love. Yeah.
So right away? Is that? am I
It would never
translating?
be right away. Never.
Like same night?
I'm very.
Have you ever like met a guy and then like within
Nope.
24 hours?
No.
48 hours?
No.
72 hours?
No.
A fortnight?
You know, one time.
There was that one guy. Okay.
That right role play scenario.
But I guess my confusion with this whole thing is, and Andrew has most of it down when it comes to the faking virtue thing, but there does seem to be this, there's another component here where it's kind of like there's game playing and then this sort of like, what's going on here, kind of unfair treatment. Like, I'm sure a lot of you guys, I'll give you a scenario where perhaps you can comprehend, because this is a frustration that men experience that I don't think women can really understand or put themselves in men's shoes on this. So here's the example. Imagine a guy who he introduced his friends and family to you, spent quality, long romantic dates with you, revealed his emotional side with you, but he just wanted to smash. But with girls he saw long-term potential in, he booty called them at night, left straight away because he didn't want to get hurt. Like, so he's, what I'm getting at with that example is he's essentially rewarding the woman. Get to meet the family, friends, spend these long romantic dates. He's putting in all this effort. With the woman he's just trying to smash and have sex with, but the girl he sees long-term potential in, she gets the worse treatment. And so it's interesting to me, like, okay, you really like the guy. This guy's so great, but that's the guy, he's got to wait a month, 2 months, 3, 5, 10 dates. But the guy who's a jerk, asshole, fuckboy, who you have had short-term encounters with, he gets to hit right away. So the jerk, the guy who was a jerk, the guy who was an asshole to you, he hit right away, and I'm the good guy. I'm the guy you actually want a long-term relationship with, and you want to wait. Oh, okay, you're not attracted to me. Or what's the situation then?
But that's exactly the problem, and that's what's contributing to hookup culture.
What do you mean? What's the problem?
Like, you guys automatically assuming that just because a woman's not sleeping with you on the first date, that she's not attracted to you. But I would just say
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that like that could be a thought process for a lot of guys.
Right, which is why women are sleeping with men on the first date now. Because if not, then the man would just leave. So I think the jerk that you're talking about, like the ideal man, like the F-boy, like he gets it on the first night because the woman thinks that will keep him around. Like, to be honest.
But they clearly don't think that, because with the guy that they want to keep around, they decide to hold off on it.
Aren't we supposed to bow down and obey man?